Right off the bat, I want to tell you that this is not going to show you how to build a giant battery, and I'm not going to be doing it in 5 minutes. It's about the video, How to Build a Giant Battery, by the YouTube channel Fabricated in 5 Minutes. So if you want to move on, move on. But I was sent this video and I was asked to give some thoughts about it. Now, I'm not an expert in lots and lots of things. I'm just a guy mucking around with tools in his shed. But there is one thing that I'm an expert on, and the long-time viewers of the channel can attest to this. I'm a battery expert. I know a lot about batteries, and batteries have to contain 5 things. They need an anode, a cathode, a current collector, a separator, and an electrolyte. If they have those 5 things, they will be a battery or a supercapacitor. If they don't have any of those things, or if they're missing one of those things, that device will not work. I mean, batteries in their essence are super simple things. I mean, what else is made from only 5 components? The challenge is those components are difficult to get together and difficult to get right and difficult to put in a large size. But the components themselves are really, really simple. If you don't have those 5 things, though, you are not going to have a working device. So whenever you see a battery video or something that's explaining it to you, it must contain those 5 things. If it doesn't have those 5 things, it's not going to work. Now, the chap that I'm talking about, I watched his entire video and it's 7 minutes 17 seconds long, so if you feel like giving up 7 minutes and 17 seconds of your life that you'll never get back, by all means jump across and have a look. But he takes a 50-gallon plastic drum and he puts in it 2 coils of copper pipe. It looks like about 15mm copper pipe. He chops those pipe in half and reconnects them with a magnet, and presumably this magnet is where the magic is supposed to come from. Anyway, he's got these 2 copper pipes connected by a magnet. He drops them in the oil barrel and then he fills the whole thing up with activated carbon and tamps it down, puts the lid in and pours in some rainwater, and hey presto, apparently he's got this massive battery. And of course there's so much wrong with that. There is no separator for a start. The coils are presumably the current collectors, and they're far too small for that device that he's made, because a battery has a resistance where most of the energy is used up before you can get it out. With a big barrel like that and such tiny current collectors in relation to the size, no charge is going to come out of there. And of course there's no separator, which means if he does manage to put a plus and a minus on there, it's just going to short circuit immediately, because he's basically packed the whole thing full of a conductive material, the activated carbon, so it's going to short immediately. The rainwater, of course, is rainwater, so there's no electrolyte in there. Now, we could argue that the activated carbon has salt in it already. He didn't say, but probably not. So it's missing a huge amount of what would make it a battery. Then, of course, he dances around a little bit, shows us some sparks, because sparks are always impressive, charges this thing up apparently, and then does some more sparks and lights a lamp as proof that his battery is working. Oh, he also takes a voltmeter reading, again as proof that this device actually works. But that's the problem with YouTube. YouTube is a video channel, and everybody knows videos can be less than truthful. Now, it's one of the reasons I don't bother so much about such stuff. What I try to drive people to, suggest people do, is replicate, and investigate. So one of the reasons that some of the stuff I make is so simple and trivial is because it's easy to replicate. If you want answers to some of the things like how much does it produce, well, make one. It's going to take you an afternoon and cost you a $5. You make this thing, it's going to cost you quite a few $100s, and you're going to spend a few $100s on something that hasn't got a hope in hell of actually working. Now, again, you have to ask yourself, why do these guys do this kind of thing? Well, they do this kind of thing quite simply for the views. That video has had 340,000 views, and the guy's got about 629,000 subscribers on his channel, which is great. All the best to him. That's clearly what he's about and clearly what he's after. Now, there is a degree, and this is the bit where I get a little bit upset about this kind of stuff actually, there is a degree of moral vacuum going on there. So the guy is just interested in views, and he's playing to a degree on our fears and needs to get those views, and that to me seems vacuous. I mean, there are occasions when it enters my head that if I did want to do such things, then there's a ton of things that would appear mysterious and magical that I could actually wrap up in that way and try to gain views. And probably I would do, quite probably. but I just lack that sense of self-importance. I really want people to be encouraged by the science, to understand what's going on, to get results out of what it is they're doing. And of course the problem with that is it isn't magical. Sometimes the results are a bit piffling and you look at them and think, yeah, well, what was the point of that? So it's difficult when you have that view, because obviously, you know, this video we're doing here won't get that many views. It'll have a few thousand views. That video on the battery has had hundreds of thousands of views, and it does make you question to a degree what it is you do, being the sort of lone voice of reason kind of thing isn't popular, whereas being the magician who will do something wonderful is popular. And of course all these videos are like that. I mean, we saw one recently with 5 million views, remember, where the guy strapped an alternator to a motor, and here we've got a chap filling a bucket full of carbon, and it's got hundreds of thousands of views. So if something is, it seems too good to be true, then unfortunately it probably is. But when it comes down to a battery, if it's missing any of those components, chances are it's not going to work. But if you do want to jump over and have a look at his thing and make a copy of it, by all means do. But it will be 7 minutes and 17 seconds of your life you don't get back. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I do hope it helps, and thank you very much for watching.